This is Arts Alive. I'm Linda Philippi. My first guest today is Lisa Harrington. Lisa is a multi-talented woman, and here today she's going to talk to us about her jewelry making. So, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I love your jewelry.
Thank you.
It's really amazing. So, stained glass.
Stained glass, yes.
And how did you come up with that idea?
Actually, I had done stained glass for a long time, just off and on, and I'd done some bigger pieces, and I basically had an outfit that I needed to wear something, jewelry, and I didn't have anything, which is actually kind of amazing because I have tons of jewelry. And so I decided I needed to make myself some. And I made that was how the first pair of earrings was actually born, was out of my need to have a specific kind of thing. And I decided, wow, stained glass jewelry, two of my favorite things, and put them together and just came up with the idea. And I had so many compliments on the one pair that I made, I thought that I would go ahead and pursue it.
So you didn't really necessarily have a background in jewelry making per se.
No.
But you did have a background in stained glass.
Yes. Yeah.
I remember when you did the stained glass.
Right.
Yes. Okay.
And I have a graphic design background, and I've done all kinds of mediums over the years, and professional graphic designer. But nothing really ever spoke to me. It was kind of the last thing that I found on all of these other things that I had done, and I fell in love with the stained glass the first time I ever did it. And in fact, I had fallen in love with stained glass years and years and years ago as a little girl, and it just was, I don't know why it took me so long to get to it, but it did, and now I love it. It's I love the light, I love the color, I love working with my hands, I love the precision of it. So.
I guess too, once you know the basics of cutting the glass and is soldering, is that what you do?
Soldering.
Okay, yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit. So your designs are all your own,
yes.
obviously.
Yes.
Created, and I mean, I see that you brought several different colors here. They're sort of amazing. So, did you start with what you had around? Because most stained glass people that I've ever spoken with have got a lot of stained glass around.
Absolutely. So. I had lots and lots of scrap. And so that worked perfectly because I don't need a whole bunch of big pieces. The scrap is perfect. And, I've basically started off just doing earrings, and then I've done some pendants, and then the latest thing I have done is moved to some of the bigger pieces.
I love what you're wearing. That's really pretty.
And I have tons of ideas, and have this feeling a little bit like I'm not going to have enough time to do all of them, or I'm not going to remember them all. But so it's a process, and I'm just moving forward, trying to get more and more creative, and eventually want to get into doing like some big bracelets or concho belts. And it's kind of endless, what you can do with it. It's such a and this is not really something that I've seen anywhere else.
I haven't either. So
I know there's a little bit of it on the internet. I've gone on the Etsy sites and seen some, but nothing exactly like what I'm doing.
That's very amazing. Yeah. So you're at the Saturday market, the public market, we'll call it, the McMinnville Public Market.
McMinnville Public Market.
And that is how many days a week?
Right now, just Saturdays.
Okay.
And I guess the public market just opened back up, and so yeah, I'll be there. The whole market is open every Saturday from 10 to 4, and I'll be there from now on until I can can't justify being there anymore. So I love it. It's a great place. The people are so welcoming. They're so encouraging, and they really have a great investment in helping new artists. That was one of the things that impressed me the most, because I am a new artist in terms of doing this. And they, were like, oh, we're just so happy it's something original, and please, I thought, am I going to have to jury and send in pictures? And the gentleman that runs it said, no, I'm it and you're in. And so
oh, great, okay.
So it was much easier than I thought, and so I'm really happy to be there.
Well, the market itself it's sort of evolved over the years, and I think it's really become an institution, and really grown from just early days, and now I think people think of it as much as crafts and art as maybe vegetables and fruits and flowers and things like that.
We have a lot of people apparently that come. This is I've only been there 3 weeks, so kind of a newbie on the block, but I think there's people that pretty much come there as much as they possibly can to get organic vegetables. There's a lot of farmers that come in and bring that, but there's everything from handmade soaps to great coffee and jewelry and art and music, and it's just a really great cultural. It's an amalgamation of all of the different things that go on here in the community. So it's really great, really fun.
Yeah, and how do you feel like people are receiving your jewelry? Are they loving it?
Well, so far I've done okay. I can, like I said, still justify being there, which is really great. And I've had a lot of compliments and a lot of people that have really liked it. You know, a couple of people want to come back. I've had a couple of requests, so I also do custom work. If people, if somebody says, "Well, geez, I really like that shape, but I don't see a color I like," or, you know, if they have a special outfit,
right, exactly,
and they can't find anything, you know, I can do that, and it's something really different that you're not going to find in department stores anywhere.
So when you do stained glass, is it always sort of the silver tone? Does the solder stuff come in gold tone, or is it always the silver?
You know, they have the solder itself is always silver. They have different patinas that you can use. So far, they have a copper one and a black one.
Oh, interesting.
And so, yeah, so you can kind of get it a gunmetal gray, and the copper is more like a penny.
Okay.
And you can, you know, depending on how you want to do it, you can get various degrees of shininess. So far, I prefer working in the silver tones.
Because that's what most people like anyway,
right.
silver, yeah.
But you never know. You know, I've worked with the copper patina and the black patina, and they definitely have their uses, and depending on the kind of piece, you know, it may call for something other than silver.
But and I noticed also, too, that you use a lot of beads in your work as well.
Yes, that's one of the things that when I went online looking for, I didn't see anybody doing, was mixing them with the beads.
I like that,
and
makes it fancier.
Well, and it does. It doesn't. It lends itself more to being called jewelry. I mean, even. Anyway, I like the beads. I love beads.
As opposed to just wearing a stained glass window around. Right. Here I am. Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, and I've collected beads. That was part of it. You know, one of my other things with the jewelry was buying it here and there, and I'd buy a piece at a thrift shop just for the beads and go home and tear it apart and make something else. So really mixing, you know, the beadwork and the jewelry with the stained glass it was kind of like one of those, I could have had a V8 moments, you know.
Right, of course.
How did it take me so long to put these things together? But anyway, that's kind of how that evolved.
Well, you know, and I like the idea, too, of sort of that repurposing. You know, you've got the old jewelry, maybe taking it apart, using beads, the glass that you've had. That's kind of nice to think that there's something that you can do with that beyond just let it sit there and kind of pile up.
Right, right. And I've also had other people gift their glass to me when they have quit, you know, either people that have done it and quit, or for whatever reasons. I've had people gift me with their leftover glass also. So it's been really great. And I've had my next door neighbor show up with beautiful display boxes just that her dad was going to get rid of, and she showed up and she goes, "Do you think you could use these?" And I was like, "Yes."
Oh, so yeah, the boxes and things to display. I mean, that's always a big deal too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, and this is this is a beautiful case.
Her father handmade this box when he
really nice.
when he was selling his goods, and so that was just a real great gift out of nowhere, you know, and it's really helped a lot. So it was kind of one of those things I took as a signal, like, keep going.
Yeah, well, that's just it.
Yeah.
Now, are you doing any of your graphic design these days? If people call?
Not a whole lot. If somebody wanted something, I would do it. But actually, I have another friend that I'd probably recommend them to anyway for actual graphic design, because I've kind of gotten out of that a little bit. You know, I can still cut vinyl lettering and stuff like that, but don't really do it too much.
Because this is taking your time, and this is your passion.
Yes, absolutely.
So are there? I mean, is all glass, all stained glass, the same, or does some lend itself better to jewelry than others?
There's different kinds, you know, there's all kinds of different glasses, and I'm just starting to really learn like what that actually means and how they're made and whether they're rolled or pressed or whatever, and I really don't know the real differences. I know the differences when it comes to working with them.
That's what I mean, yeah.
And so some of them are easier to work with, some of them are brittle, some, you know, and it just kind of depends. And, you know, if you break a piece, there's always more.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
try again. So
now, when you're doing stained glass, is this a hobby or a craft, or an art that you're prone to get a lot of cuts? Do you cut yourself with it?
yeah, I will never have nice hands again.
Okay. So I wondered about that because I could imagine myself trying to work with glass.
Yeah.
I think I'd be just a cut up mess.
Yeah, well, it's glass, it's metal, and it's chemicals. And so between the three of those, you know, I've got my fingers in chemicals all the time. I'm grinding and cutting, and there's shards all over the place.
Yeah, and it's fine work. I mean, you
Yeah.
can't very well wear gloves.
No, absolutely
So-
not. I've tried, and it's just no good.
It's
The
a
chemicals
mess.
either melt them, or you can't feel what you need to be doing. So yeah, that's just one of the drawbacks, but it's okay.
Is it a situation where you have to work with a window wide open? Is it stinky chemicals?
No, actually
Okay.
it's not. In fact, I've converted my one whole half of my garage to my studio.
Oh,
and,
nice.
And so, and if you know, if it really gets bad in there, I can just open the garage door a little bit, but they're not that strong. And we use them in very small amounts along the way. It's just enough to wreck my hands.
Yeah, exactly. So much for your career as a hand model.
Right.
Huh?
Yep. There goes that. It's out the window.
Okay.
So-
Well, now you were saying that you're gonna work on creating an Etsy store.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And an online presence, but this is pretty new for you. You've been
Very new.
working
yeah.
to create the actual art itself, the jewelry.
Right. I am still trying to build up my body of work, and once I get enough pieces, I mean, I actually have quite a lot, and so I'm kind of right at that point now where it's time to start taking photographs and putting it, you know, setting up a site. But up until this point, yeah, I've been basically trying to get enough work to do that with.
Or to even go to the market with.
Right.
You can't go down with 2 necklaces.
Exactly.
You have to have a
Exactly.
nice selection for people to see what you're able to do. Right. Well, I mean, from what I can see, and I know people can't see as well as we can here, but maybe you could hold it up a little bit because I see that you have lots of different shapes. I mean, you have
Yeah.
sort of the leaf shape, you have the rectangle, you have the oval, you have
you
the
can see
sort
that.
of diamond. I mean, they're very versatile.
Yeah, a lot of them are just, I kind of started off with geometric shapes because they're simple, but I'm also very inspired by nature. And so I have a lot of the leaf work.
I love that leaf work.
I have a whole necklace down here, but it's based on the earring here that's a long, slender leaf. So I've got a lot of, my inspiration mostly comes from nature. So, you know, like this is a blue water glass, and I do a lot of the kind of nature-oriented themes
Yeah, I like
and colors.
this stuff. It looks, you know, kind of shimmery and iridescent, but it looks like water. It's very beautiful.
Yeah, this is actually really, this is a really great one when you wear it and you get light on it. It just glitters. It's kind of iridescent. It
I can
throws
see
off
that,
the
yeah.
rainbow colors.
Yeah,
so.
it's really sort of hard to see them here, but it's actually, I guess. So what we'll encourage people to do is go to
the market
the public market
on Saturday.
Yes, and see your work right there. And Lisa, I really want to thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
And sharing your work with us.
Well, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.